Okay, record this. All right. Is it recording? Oh, yes. Okay. All right. So I just have our quick little presentation about nutrition and eating healthy and why it's important to eat healthy with parents and their kids, because I feel like a lot of the time as parents, you focus on what your kid's eating and if they're gonna have enough food for the day, or but a lot of parents don't think about themselves or how they're gonna do it for them. So, oop, okay. So we're just going to talk a little about, why is eating healthy food important? A little bit of tips for selecting and preparing healthy foods, what people usually eat, what you should eat, and some little things about, food components, what goes into making your food healthy and nutritious for you. So why is it important? So eating healthy foods is important because it provides the nutrients that your body needs to carry out its essential functions. I don't know if anyone else has had those days where you don't eat a lot and you just feel like you're like about to collapse at all times. So eating healthy and those nutrients can prevent that, and they include things like vitamins, minerals, protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. They support cell growth and repair. They can maintain your energy balance. So taking care of kids, it's a lot and you can be tired, so maintaining that energy balance, and it can help improve your immune system. No one likes to be sick, especially, going into cold and flu season like we are right now. I know I've suffered from that the past few weeks. But healthy foods can also play a role in maintaining that mental balance and just providing that stable energy throughout the day. And by choosing these healthy foods wisely, we can play an active role in maintaining the health and well-being of our bodies and helping our kids learn how to take care of their bodies. So why teach your kids to eat healthy? Kids mimic. I know we've talked about that in previous Zooms. Kids, if they see you doing something, they're like, "Oh, mom's doing that. I want to do that." So it encourages those good, healthy habits for kids. Kids who learn how to make early choices early on, they're more likely to continue that in eating well and keeping those habits. But it also strengthens their immunity. A well-balanced diet supports a strong immune system, reducing the chances of illness and sickness, and but it also enhances mood and mental health. It can affect your mood positively, and it can reduce the risk of anxiety and depression, as well as supporting growth and development, which is really important for kids and adults. Kids need essential nutrients to grow properly, build those strong bones, and support brain development. And it prevents those health issues, like we just said. It reduces the risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions later in life. But it also boosts energy and focus. So concentration, memory, academic performance, and helping those kids succeed in school. But it also helps parents succeed in school. So if you're eating healthy, and I know that a lot of you guys are in school or are going to school, or maybe have just graduated, but eating healthy can help you concentrate and do better in that, which can, improve things later in life. But it also builds a positive relationship with food. So teaching that balance early on, can help prevent unhealthy eating behaviors like emotional eating, binge eating, not eating at all, or just extreme dieting that later in life. So, with the healthy food components, I know I mentioned this just before, but we have our fat, fiber, water, protein, carbohydrates, and then the vitamins and minerals. So, all of these help your body carry out its important functions. So, yeah. So, there's macronutrients. So, these would include carbohydrates, which provide that energy. And this would include things like whole grains, fruits, vegetables. And then protein. I know a lot of people hear about, like, oh, I got to meet my protein goal, which is why it's essential for muscle repair and immune functions. So things like lean meats, beans, eggs, but also fats. I know a lot of people think, oh, but I don't want to eat fat because I don't want to get fat. But fat can be important for you. It's important for that brain function and cell growth. So things like nuts, olive oil, avocados. So I think a lot of people think, oh, like eating all these unhealthy foods that have fats. I don't want to eat fats, but just having like nuts as a snack or adding avocados into one of your meals can be really important. And then we have our micronutrients, so our vitamins and minerals, and these can support your metabolism, immunity, and your cell function. So, and you can get it through a few different things like citrus. There's also just sunlight, just going out into the sun, not being, you know, cooped up in your room. And this is important for kids too, getting them out there into that sun and outdoors. And then the minerals, good for bones, good for growing, good for blood health. There's hydration. Water is essential um, for digestion, circulation, and temperature regulation, which is really important in kids. Um, there's also fiber. Really getting those bowels movement, especially in kids, to help those early on. But it also supports digestion and heart health, and it's in grains, veggies, fruits. Fiber's in a lot of things. So we're going to go through a little bit of a little menu. What can you eat? What do you already eat? Some tips and tricks. So for breakfast, first part of the day, I guess I'll ask Faith because you're here. What are some healthy breakfast meals that you already make? Or like, do you have any that you suggest?
When I'm home and I have time to actually make breakfast, I usually do like eggs and like avocado toast.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll do like sausage or like turkey bacon. But when I have like class and work, I usually will bring yogurt, granola, and like some raspberries and have that. Um, and then I love breakfast burritos so
Hmm.
much, but I don't eat them very often because I don't know. They're like my treat.
Yeah, those are some great options. I like how you mentioned things for when you have more time to cook, and then when you just have to, be on the go, because sometimes you don't have, 45 minutes in the morning to cook a full breakfast. Um, but I agree with the breakfast burritos. There's also like in the oatmeal with honey and cranberries, yogurt with honey. That's what I had this morning. There's one thing that I found it's scramble an egg into your oatmeal as it cooks. It sounds weird and the texture may sound weird, but you get all of those different nutrients in there and it's just one pot, so you don't have to do a whole bunch of things. So keeping things easy and convenient, you can add things to it, butter and jelly. I like adding maple syrup. I think it's really good. And it's quick because, oatmeal doesn't take that long to cook. Um, for lunch, I know that a lot of people, working, going to school, so you don't have time to cook lunch at lunchtime or right before. So meal planning can be a really good thing. There's these rice and beans freezer burritos, like you said, burritos, but it can be for breakfast and for lunch, and honestly, even for dinner. So you can save money when you make a batch of these frozen burritos. So you just mash the beans, you mix them together with everything in it, tomatoes, cheese, jalapenos, then you just fill it with a tortilla. So you get an ingredient in every bite. You don't just get one giant bite of tortilla and tomato, 'cause that doesn't sound very nice. And you can serve it with different toppings, sour cream, salsa, hot sauce, depending on what time of day you eat it or just what, your personal preference is. For dinner, there's things like broccoli, roasted sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are a great source of nutrients, and you can get them for pretty cheap, just a whole bunch of them. Buy them in bulk. And there's different ways you could cook them. You could roast them. You could just put them in the oven for a little bit, cook them. You can add them to different things, and then just a glass of water, herbal tea without sugar. Whatever whatever your preferences are. So, some tips for selecting and preparing healthy foods. So, pay attention to those nutrition labels. I know a lot of people just look, you just look, you're like, oh, that packaging's cool or that looks cheap, and you get that. But pay attention to what exactly is on those nutrition labels because a lot of the times things are hidden and you won't see them until you look back at those nutrition labels. And then, choose healthy cooking methods and fresh foods. I know that a lot of the times fresh foods can be a little bit more expensive, so pick and choose, you know, what you think would be better for the fresh and then what you think would be better more prepped in a different way, and pay attention to what everything looks like. Just because it looks good doesn't necessarily mean it'll be super healthy. So with the meal prepping, try once a week. I think Sunday works. That's what I usually do. And then cook those batches and store the meals in the fridge or freezer so you can make it, or if they're older, they can make it, and so you have everything prepped out and it's not as confusing for them. So yeah, with the meal plan, plan those ones to avoid last minute unhealthy choices. Like if you're going through a grocery store and you're like, I'm hungry, I need this quick, I'm just gonna get this unhealthy thing, just go for it. But also keep those healthy snacks ready. So veggies, fruit, yogurt, or nuts. I know some kids don't really like those, but you can figure out, figure out what your kids like and then try and find, the healthy option of that. So plan your prep. As I said, I think Sunday is a great day because a lot of the time people don't work on Sundays. I know that depends on person to person. So whichever day works for you to cook and portion those meals and then decide which ones to prep ahead. Some of those you might do one prepped meal and then the rest you'll make just from scratch. But using those quick time saving, slow cooker, set it and forget about it. You don't need to constantly be at a stove cooking. And then make those double portions so you have leftovers. In the US, we have a big leftover culture because we like to do things like this. And then pre-pack those snacks to avoid unhealthy choices for you and your kids. Same goes for grocery shopping. Stick to a list. I recommend, writing it on. I think that just writing it on a old-fashioned piece of paper, pencil and piece of paper really helps. It also helps avoid those impulse buys, so you can keep it healthy. Uh, Same with shopping the perimeter. I know that in most grocery stores, it tends to be the fresher foods are kind of on the outside, and then when you go towards the middle, you have those kind of processed foods and frozen stuff. But frozen and canned options can also be good. They can be quick. Same with like with those frozen fruits and veggies, along with canned beans and tuna, are nutrition convenient, and they last longer than if you just, bought tuna from like the fish counter. That probably wouldn't last as long. So here's some little ideas for breakfast. You could do those overnight oats, smoothies, boiled eggs. I know eggs are like $1 bazillion right now, so going off different things, you could switch it up. Um, Same with lunch and dinner, a lot of veggies and protein, wraps and soups, or just pasta with veggies. I know some kids don't like veggies, but blending them, you can't see them if they're blended. And then for snacks, yogurt, fruit, cheese, crackers, cheese and crack hummus. I think hummus goes with anything. And one of the big things is involve your kids. Kids are much more likely to eat healthier foods if they help prepare them. Because they're like, I went through all the work. I made this with mom. I'm going to eat it. They know what's in it, but it makes them fun. Colorful veggies, fun shapes. And you could do DIY meals like taco night, have them all set it up and they get to build their own thing and have a little bit more independence. And with older kids, you could have certain nights where they're in charge of dinner and they get to choose what they want. But also, don't stress. Food doesn't have to necessarily look like a Michelin star meal for you to eat it. Just do your best with what's available. Use shortcuts when needed. Those pre-cut veggies, rotisserie chickens, and healthy frozen meals. They can save time. And practice balance. It's okay to have treats in moderation. I myself love to bake, so I think I would actually die if I had to go without, the occasional baked good that I make. But it's also important, balance that. Have a little bit of healthy stuff with it. Add some nuts into your stuff. So I found this wonderful, lovely website. It's called the Stay at Home Mom Survival Guide. She has a whole bunch of different things. She has a blog where she talks about what she does with her kids. She also has kids' activities, and she has them ranging from all sorts of ages, as well as homemaking. So she has her DIY projects, organization, recipes, and self-help. So we're gonna go on to that. Let's see if we can find it. There we go. Can you see it?
No, it's still on the PowerPoint.
Let me. Okay. How's this?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So this is what it looks like. It's really easy to go through. She has her blog, all of this you can watch stuff, motivational things for moms, but she also has her kids' activities as taught. So she's infant, toddler, preschool, and even school age. She has all of these things here. But the one I wanted to look at was over here. She has her recipes. It's really easy to go through. I totally recommend going through it. She has a whole of different things. Here she is with different things like dietary needs for kids. Not every kid can eat the same thing. One pot meals, all these things, quick and easy, healthy life, all these things. There is some little bits of ads, but you don't have to pay for anything. I made sure. Whole bunch of these quick breakfast ideas, easy things. She also has meal planning, which, as I said, is really important. She's got her whole system. She's got all this. Same with snacks. So I recommend going through this, looking through all her DIY stuff. It's pretty cool. And she's got her kids. Fun things you can do with your kids that aren't necessarily cooking stuff. So that's that. Let's see, we'll go back. Okay, way back. Okay,
Yeah, you're good.
perfect. All right. Oop, I don't want to do that. All right. So, any questions, tips, comments, anything you like about what's happening, anything cooking wise? Any recommendations for food?
I saw TikToks recently about um moms cutting up red peppers into like they were like, "Ooh, do you want a red pepper bracelet?" And all these kids were like,
Hmm.
"Yes, I want a red pepper bracelet." And they ended up eating like a whole red pepper just by like cutting it into slices and like calling it a bracelet, which is
No,
like
that's
so
a
silly.
great tip. I know that with my nephew, he won't eat certain things if you call them by their name. Like if you're like, "All right, let's eat spaghetti." He's like, "I don't want spaghetti." But if you're like, "Let's eat like worms," like let's pretend we're a bird and let's eat these. He's like, "I'm all for it," and he'll just devour the whole meal.
Totally.
I think just making it fun really helps. I know when I was a kid, I'm like, well, I don't want to eat my vegetables, but my mom's like, we're gonna make it a competition. You eat your vegetable, you get a sticker.
Yeah.
Between me and my siblings, we're like, well, I want the stickers, because kids are competitive. So we'd eat our vegetables, and it worked.
And you got a sticker.
Yeah, I got a sticker, and then like I think it was at the end of the month or the end of the week, whoever had the most stickers got like to pick out whatever they wanted at the grocery store, healthy or not healthy, just making it fun.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I love that idea actually.
Yeah. So keeping it fun, making sure you have things in moderation, going through, looking at what you're eating. I also, one of the big things, not shopping while hungry. I have made that mistake before. I know that even when you bring your kids and they're all hungry, so maybe giving them a quick snack before you go,
Oh
you
my
know.
God, my mom did that. Or my mom would, I would be like, give me that right now. And I would like throw a fit if I didn't get to eat like a cookie in
Hmm.
the middle of the grocery store. Like while we're
Exactly.
still grocery shopping.
Yeah, and
Like,
honestly, that still happens to me as an adult. I'm like, I go to the grocery store and I'm like, I probably should have eaten something before this because now all I want is that like random packaged something that's like the first thing I can grab.
yeah.
So, yeah, those are all my tips and tricks, and making sure you're looking at what you're eating, important, keeping it fun for the kids. So, that is that. All right.
Good job, Maggie.
Thank you. Let's see. Let me stop